To quiz or not to quiz? That is the question. So I'm using a little bit of Shakespeare here to make my point. So a lot of us, when we're building our online course, we're thinking, hey, do I really need to be quizzing people? Do I need to be testing them? I mean, what I want to do is just teach them. Why the heck would I want to, kind of get into that? Is that overkill? Well, here's the thing to consider when you're building your course. You're working with a highly distracted learner. You're working with someone who's doing this on their computer. They don't have the typical social norms that they would have in a classroom, where you can't just be goofing off, distracted. You can't be walking around. You're at your computer, and it could be late at night. It could be early in the morning. It could be in the middle of the day. You don't have anybody keeping an eye on you. You do have your email running, you have Slack, you have Hangout, you have Skype, you have all the things distracting you. And you're somewhat decided to learn this thing through this course that you've purchased, but then again, your actions may not really be doing that, right? So by adding quizzes, and I'm not talking about super difficult quizzes, I'm talking about 3, 5, 6 questions at the end of a chapter, a lesson, however you divide up your program, where you come up and you help the person validate, did they really learn what it is that you covered in that section? Sometimes they could be kind of no-duh sort of questions. In some cases, it might be something a little bit more involved, but I'm talking about something multiple choice. The point is that I can kind of go through there as a student and confirm that I learned what it is that you wanted to teach them. I know a lot of times when I'm taking a course, I'm distracted, I'm thinking about something else, and I'm just kind of going through the motion, especially if it's a topic where there's sections that have information I'm kind of already familiar with. When I can get to the end of that section and I can take a quiz and go, check, check, check. Oh, hold on. I don't even remember that part. It'll encourage me to go back or at least reread or recover some information you have there and then proceed. And this is especially true if you have a program that is, sequential, in that if I get to lesson 3 and I didn't get most of lesson 2, then lesson 3 is going to go off and confuse me even more. So, quizzing at the right points, and it could be that it's at the end of every lesson, is probably a good idea. Now, if you're using tools like LearnDash has great quizzing options. So, right after a lesson or after a group of lessons or, topics that are covered underneath a lesson, you can, come up and add a quiz. And then you don't even have to be real strict, because in some cases you can configure it so that unless they pass the quiz, they can't proceed to the next level. That's a decision that you have to make. But by making the quiz their own personal gate to get over to the next level, you've improved the learning process. You've gotten them engaged in a way that you can't by just giving them a video, because they do have to answer some of those questions. And as a result, you improve the learning process and you're delivering on your commitment to them that you want them to learn this content. Now, in some cases, you have a program that leads up to a certification, in which case you're going to kind of, give them the blessing and saying, hey, this person really knows this topic. And, maybe you're giving them a badge, or you're giving them a seal of approval, something that they can print on their website or something that they can put on their business card. In that case, now a quiz or a test or, a real assessment is what you want. And now you can come up and, 20 questions, 50 questions, something that's a lot more in depth. That's the hurdle that gets them past the approval or the certification that you're wanting to offer. Now, think about both of these things. So you've got a certification test at the end that you want people to pass. If those mini quizzes that follow each of the lessons kind of give them a good idea that they can pass that final test, you've really helped with that learning process even more. Because if they're coming up and saying, well, I've kind of passed these, 80 to 100%, I should be able to pass the final test 80 to 100%. But at the same time, if the person's kind of going through and they're kind of slacking, and what they're seeing is, well, I'm passing 50%, I'm passing 60%, sometimes I don't even understand what's going on, then it should be no surprise to them if they get to the end to the certification test and now they don't pass it. So you've given them a consistent way of measuring what it is that they're learning along the way, so that you're giving them approvals. You're giving them a measurement that they can use themselves to know that they're getting to the next level. So anyway, to quiz or not to quiz, it's definitely up to you, but these are some tips I hope will be helpful for you.